Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the March meeting of the Wilmot Township Committee of Adjustment. It is my understanding that there's no one that wishes to read the territorial acknowledgement for the Township of Wilmot, so I will do so. We have gathered in Wilmot Township on the traditional territory of the Neutral, the Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee, and the Mississauga peoples. We also want to acknowledge the importance of the Dish with One Spoon Covenant, a peace agreement made between the indigenous nations before the Europeans arrived. This characterizes our collective responsibility to each other and to Mother Earth. We should only take what we need, leave enough for others, and keep the dish clean. By acknowledging this covenant and the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, we are reminded of our important connection to this land where we live, learn, and work together as a community. I'd like to introduce members of our committee this evening. In no particular order, we have Ms. Louise Lalonde, Mr. Peter Rowe, Mr. Tyler Bowman, and Mr. Steve Miller, and my name is Wayne Roth. Also with us this evening, we have Mr. Andrew Martin, who is our Secretary Treasurer, and Manager of Planning for the Township, as well as Mr. Miller, who is a Township Planner and will be introducing the applications this evening. We are an independent body appointed by Wilmot Township Council, and we have the ability to make minor changes to existing zoning regulations, to approve some minor changes to existing non-conforming uses, as well as to give consent. Each applicant will be notified in writing of the decision of this committee within 10 days. And with that decision will be instructions on how it can be appealed. Any decision made by this committee can be appealed to the local planning appeal board, who will then hold a meeting and make a final and binding decision. This also applies both to variances and to consents. For the format of the meeting we will follow, Mr. Miller will introduce the application. The applicant will then have the opportunity to come forward and add any additional information if they choose to do so. Following that, anyone in the general audience can make comments if they wish to do so. Committee members will then have the opportunity to question, and then a decision will be made. Is there any a pecuniary conflict of interest by members this evening? Seeing none, Mr. Miller, would you please introduce the first application?
Thank you, Mr. Roth. The first application is a consent application B01/22 concerning 50 Arnold Street in New Hamburg. So this application is proposing to sever a portion of the property consisting of approximately 1,100 square meters as a new industrial lot, while retaining approximately 1,000 square meters. So the entire property is presently vacant, but there is a development concept which has been prepared for the severed parcel. The retained portion of the property, again, would be approximately 1,000 square meters, which is considerably larger than the minimum lot area of 695 square meters. And should the application be approved, there may be some modifications to the original development concept that was shown on the sketch that may occur as a result of the future site plan approval process and the building permit process that would follow. And again, as part of that process, there would be a detailed review, approval, and implementation of future studies, such as a functional servicing report, a traffic analysis, if it is deemed to be required, along with some servicing, grading, and stormwater management briefs that would also occur through this subsequent site plan approval process. So this application is simply seeking to divide the lots. Staff have previously dealt with noise studies through the site plan control process. However, the Region of Waterloo has requested in some subsequent discussions that provisions be included within the conditions of consent to ensure that the noise studies are completed. So staff will be adding those conditions as well. At the time of writing this report, no concerns were received, and staff are recommending approval of the consent subject to a number of standard conditions that are typically imposed.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Does the applicant or his or her representative wish to address committee on this matter? Do we see it? Do we see any hands, Mr. Martin?
No hands are raised.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else in the general audience that wishes to address committee on this matter? Seeing none, I'll turn it over to members of committee. Any comments, discussion, or questions? Seeing none, would someone then bring forth a motion that we approve this submission? Moved by Mr. Rowe, seconded by Ms. Lalonde. Is there any discussion on the motion? Was your hand? Did you? Okay, I see none. So therefore, all in favor. That motion is carried. Thank you very much. That concludes the number of applications we have this evening, but we do need to approve the minutes of our last meeting. So would someone bring forth that motion? Moved by Mr. Bowman, seconded by Ms. Lalonde. Any discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor? That motion is also carried. Thank you very, very much for your attendance tonight. Do we have anything coming up for the month of April, Mr. Miller?
Nothing's been officially filed yet, but we are expecting at least 1 or 2 applications to come through. We'd be looking at targeting April 6th as the next meeting date, pending committee availability.
Okay. Well, we'll wait to hear from you. Thank you all for coming.
Just in terms of a rough availability, are most members available on April 6th?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's good. Thank you all. Stay safe and make sure that you stay healthy as well. Thank you. Good night.